Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 191 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So I caught myself this week wishing something would change, something that I thought would make me happier, and something that was outside of my control. And then I remembered the world doesn't have to change for me to be okay. If I've learned anything that I would want to hang on to forever, it would be that the world doesn't have to change for me to be okay. Nothing external needs to be different for me to be happy. And it doesn't for you either. The majority of our suffering is self-induced. I get to choose to be okay regardless of what's going on. That's my choice. And I'm strong enough to do that, and so are you. A couple of years ago, I went through a period where I was uncharacteristically having a very hard time being happy. I mean, happy has always been my set point, but I just couldn't seem to find a way to get there at that time. And I could have easily ruined my life because when you're in survival mode, sometimes you do things that aren't good for you long term. Now, fortunately, I realized it was a hormone imbalance. And as soon as I got my hormones balanced, I was right back to feeling happy again. And that was a really hard time in my life, and my husband's too. But I wouldn't change it because we both grew from it. Now, I feel like I have so much more empathy for people that are going through chemical imbalances. It's a real thing. But it also set me on this journey that led me to starting this podcast, and I'm so happy it did. Now, we want to think that nothing should ever go wrong and everything should always feel good and life should be this straight path that's predictable and always easy. If life were predictable and always easy, we would just all be silly, soft, bored, and entitled. We can kind of see that taking shape with some of our teens today because they've never endured hardship. Now, we wouldn't have the advancement that we have today without struggle. Most of our advancement comes because someone struggled and figured out a way around it. They figured out a better way. Because we have challenges and because we have these things that go wrong that are out of our control, we're strong and getting stronger every single day. The key is we have to figure out what about that struggle or obstacle is moving us forward. What about it is good? What could it be teaching us? Now, let's say, for example, we're hiking. Hiking's on my mind because we're going hiking this weekend, which I'm so excited about. Anyway, so we're hiking and we're on this path. Everything is going along just fine, and then all of a sudden we get to this point and there's something blocking the path. It's a huge boulder, and this is the only way forward, and we have to figure out a way to get on the other side of it. Now, we can have a tendency to look at whatever that obstacle is, and for the sake of the story, I'm using a boulder, but we can blame it for not being able to move forward, and now we're mad because we think it's stopping us, so we kick it and we rage about it and we talk about it with the other people on the path. We even make signs about it. But then someone comes along and they aren't joining in on the rage or the anger. They simply figure out a way to climb over the rock, which takes a lot of effort and is super scary, but they do it anyway. And once they get up there on the top of it, they see so clearly that there's a better path, an easier one, that they would never have seen had the boulder not been there. That's how most of our advancement happens. It's because someone got past their fear and pressed forward anyway. You don't have to wait for that person to come along. You can be that person, and I can too. We have an inner guidance system that knows the easiest path forward, and sometimes it may not be the one you want or the one you think you need. But when things happen, look for the way around it. You don't need someone else to find it for you. You know what's right for you, and you know the answer. You just have to be willing to listen for it. And you do that by finding a way to quiet your mind every single day, even if just for 5 minutes. And also be so discerning on what and who you allow in. We live in a time where it's more important than ever to find peace and calm whenever we can, right? A majority of our suffering comes from our very own mind. It comes from the things that we allow in. It comes from the things that we give our attention to. And we get to control all of that. That's the way forward. Yeah, it seems like the world's a mess right now, but the world doesn't have to change for us to be okay. There's been much worse times in the world than we've seen them right now. In fact, it's relatively mild compared to things that have happened in our past. But every single time we look at our phone or our computer or the TV, we're being bombarded with the latest crisis. True empowerment comes from managing what we focus on and limiting what we give our attention to. And when you do that, you become a creator, not a consumer. And that's when you change your own world. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.